Welcome back, film goers, to Real Actors. This is the show where myself and special guests, usually related to me, sit down and talk about who you guys voted for. Yes, that is like the permanent shtick now. We always pick 4 entertainers and put it up on a Twitter poll, and whoever you guys and gals want us to talk about, poorly or good, I might add, whatever, whatever, we'll leave that to the public court. That's who we discuss. So today, we threw in, well, before I say who we're going to be discussing, and before I show all the other, special guests that don't have a pulse, I would like to thank the, not special guest, but a co-host rather, Miss Becki Morgan.
Well, hello.
Hello,
everyone.
You are not the other sister. You are the only sister tonight.
I am the only sister tonight. This is how this works tonight. You just never know what's going to happen.
That's right.
I never know what sister I'm going to be.
We'll do it live.
Woo!
Yes. I'm going to bring up the chat real quick. Okay, so who won the Twitter poll? Hey, well, Debbie is, or the Walking Deb, I better stay on theme, is with us. She is just in the chat. So if you guys, gals, want to come and join us, talk about Tom Hardy. Well, I just spoiled it. Man, I'm usually better at this. But yeah, if you guys want to talk about who we're talking about tonight, jump on in the chat. The Walking Deb would love to talk to you there as well. But yes, the Twitter poll. So we put out Jake Gyllenhaal, Ryan Gosling, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Tom Hardy. Becki, why did we come to those 4 choices?
Well, because I think that all 4 of those are sort of like, I don't know, they're sort of staples for all of us. It's in some way. And so I wanted Tom Hardy from the beginning. I suggested Tom Hardy like 3 shows ago.
Yeah.
So this is my dream come true today.
I mean, those are stiff competition. I was I just got off of watching like all the Fincher, and for some reason I was really like Jake Gyllenhaal. I really wanted to talk Jake Gyllenhaal, and I'm just like, he's going to be a slam dunk win. And then I think we threw Leo in there. I'm like, ooh, that's some stiff competition. I didn't think Gosling was going to pull it out, although you put him in a Refn film, he's brilliant. Or a Villeneuve. I'm never going to say his name right, from like Blade Runner. But I didn't think he was going to win. And then we needed a 4th. Tom Hardy was a late addition, and he wound up, it wasn't even close. He ran away with this thing.
He ran away, and it's really funny because in the beginning it was Leo. It was all about Leo in the beginning, and I think I would love to do a Leo show because there's so much there and like so much to talk about, and there's this whole evolution of Leonardo DiCaprio, which would be really interesting. But Tom Hardy stole the ball at the end and just like went running with it, so I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, it was a clean knockout. It wasn't even close, and it's kind of on theme because he does play a bit of a brute. But before we start kind of dissecting his performances in his films, and Becki and I's favorite moments from the actor born across the pond, I want to tell you guys a little bit about something. I got a new thing going on, and that's a partnership with Chemical Clothing. So if you go to chemicalclothing.com, the fine folks over there, Mr. Andrew Signs, he's a good guy. I kind of know him. If you want to jump over to chemicalclothing.com, you could enter promo code Real Actors. That's the show that we're on. All in caps. Has to be all in caps. And you could get 15% off. Awesome. It's like skate shirts, surf shirts. It's really great stuff. So go over there. I got some cool stickers and stuff. Maybe we'll send those out to some fans. But yeah, awesome little partnership we got going on with Andrew Signs Chemical Clothing. So go to chemicalclothing.com. Again, Real Actors, that's the promo code, and get 15% off. I mean, that's pretty awesome stuff. Are you jumping on that website after the show, Becki?
I am doing it as we speak. I just am doing it with my toes. What?
Perfect.
I don't even know. Yeah. All right. Good for me.
Oh, and Andrew's actually in the chat. He says chemical-clothing.com. That's right. So if you see that, chemical-clothing.com, make sure you do that. Maybe it'll take you somewhere in the dark webs if you leave off the dash. So thank you, Andrew, for sidestepping that landmine for us. Also, my special guest tonight, I feel like I'm probably going to be going at it alone, but we're drinking Tom Hardy We're drinking Tom Hardy. Becki wishes.
Wow. Now.
Oh man. I just picked a rosé because it has a fun name that when I saw the label in my cupboard, it sounded like something Bane would say. So I'm drinking the Moulin de Gosse Gulheim.
Oh my god.
It's the Gulheim.
Oh god. It's not even started yet and you're already already at it.
Very excited. I mean, if you watch it, I don't care if you're a man, woman, or check any box you want. Watching this much Tom Hardy in the last week, I mean, I am verklempt. I am like, woo, I'm a little hot now.
I'm always hot and bothered when I watch Tom Hardy. Let me tell you something. This has been an absolute pleasure for me. It's like any excuse to watch Tom Hardy movies or to marathon Tom Hardy. I don't even need an excuse. I could just always do that.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. It's, you know what? I don't think I thought about him as a possibility even to put on one of these yet, because I think it was a me problem. Yes, I've seen him in, things like The Dark Knight, the infamous Bane voice, which, we'll talk about when we get there. But I didn't really, when I was looking through it, besides like Mad Max and stuff, I'm like, I haven't seen a lot of Tom Hardy things. So that's why this kind of show is so brilliant, because it made me sit down, and now I have to put this gentleman in like at least the top 15 of my all-time favorite actors. It's not like he has a prophetic, filmography or anything, because he hasn't been in a ton of stuff, relatively speaking, to other not filmmakers, but entertainers. But damn, is he like entertaining?
Yeah, he's a heavyweight, and I've been a fan for many years. I loved him in Bronson. That was my first Tom Hardy experience, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And then, of course, I'm a huge Peaky Blinders fan. You know this. I am like obsessed with Peaky Blinders. So I fell in love with. I was so excited when I didn't even know he was in the show when I started watching Peaky Blinders, and then when I realized that he was in it, and then watching that, we can talk about that too later, because we have to talk about Peaky Blinders. I just watched Taboo as well, so we'll talk about that too later.
See, I didn't get the chance to sit down and really see the small screen performances so much. Peaky Blinders has been on my to-do list for a very long time. That has Cillian Murphy in it as well, which I'm a huge fan of. So it's definitely been on my radar. Taboo, kind of the same. I think the same. So the director of Locke is the showrunner for Taboo, if I'm not mistaken.
That I don't know. I do know that is it his brother that's involved in Taboo? And isn't Ridley Scott one of the executive producers or something as well? Taboo is created by Tom Hardy. He writes, and he directs as well some of the episodes, or I don't know. He produces and writes. He created the show. The show is his, but I think his brother is involved, or somebody that's related to him, but I can't remember who. I know it's really prepared, right?
No, I'm like, hey, isn't it the one director that's producing and show running this thing that I've never seen? Hey, we're shooting from the hip here. I just want to say, like, wow, what a crazy chat we got going on already. We got Dr. Efren, we got Jason from MTG Deck Techs, Matt from Total MTG. Great to see him in there. Kevin Wheeler, Andrew, like I said before, is there, and of course the Walking Deb. So what a great chat going on already. So I'll be trying to jump over there and interact with you guys and gals as much as possible. But so before we kind of dive into the films, we don't really have to talk about themes, but like when I saw Tom Hardy in each role, and I mean this in the best way, he is Mr. Accent. He, in every single role, I had to just Google, or not Google, but YouTube him just talking as in an interview to know what the guy's real voice sounds like, because he never sounds the same in any role.
Absolutely. He's another one of those completely transformative actors. And I believe he's I don't know if he seems like a super intense method actor to me. Like, there's no way that guy's like walking home at the end of the day with the performances that he's giving, and he's just like, yeah, I'm not that guy. I don't know. I just feel like he's just so completely transformative, whether it's accent, appearance. Like, his appearance is always extreme in one way or another. So he's totally nails the accents in a way that is very rare I think, with accuracy that's super rare in the acting world, I guess.
Sure, and it's just like you think of character actors, he was not one on my radar. Like we just talked about Gary Oldman being a character actor. Of course, you know, people like Jim Carrey. There's specific people you think about as character actors, but I think of Tom Hardy more as a period piece actor, and more of like a locational actor. Where yes, he does do, you know, crazy voices like the Bane voice. I'm going to be doing that all night.
Oh no,
like Bane, he talks like this.
Oh God.
He's the fast food what is it called, speaker voice that kind of sounds like Yoda, but that's just me. But he does, like, you know, if you could put him in as a New Yorker, like he did in The Drop. You could put him in, you know, every time he opened his mouth in The Revenant, I heard banjos. Like it's that he's that on point with his dialect, and then he's just like, what haven't I done? And then he's sitting in the movie, you know, they're doing the movie Locke, and he's just like, I want to come off as soothing, so I'm gonna be Welsh. It's like who makes these choices?
Right. And it's funny because Welsh is such, I want to say it's a weird accent. I don't want to offend anybody, but it is a weird accent, and it's so it's such a small region of the world, and it has its own dialect. And if it's like Old Welsh, they have like their own language. There are people in England that don't even understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
And he just completely nailed it.
And he had to, because that's all you got to fucking listen, like look at.
That's all you got. That's it.
If he didn't nail that, it would have been quite a different kind of movie.
Oh my God, I'm so excited because, like, I'm so excited that you guys, and Debbie too, because Debbie watched the movies. She just wasn't able to make it tonight, but in here, she's in the chat. But I'm so excited that you guys are on the Tom Hardy bandwagon that I've been trying to shove down your throats for the last 5 years or whatever. I'm just so excited. I'm like, yes, finally they're listening to me.
Yeah, I like literally had no idea, and I had to give credit to you and Deb and Tony, my usual co-host on Real Actors, or on Director's Cut over there, like, because he's just like, oh, you're doing a Tom Hardy show? That's cool. I like Tom Hardy. He's like my favorite actor. I'm like, oh, how did I miss this? Like,
because you don't listen to your older sister. That's why.
It's like
sister.
All people that I kind of respect their opinion are just telling me something, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I just thought he was kind of a mule kind of. I don't know. I'm just like, you want a strong guy, you want someone that's gonna punch someone in the face, fine. You know, he's like a younger Daniel Craig, and then I'm like, shit, this man's got range.
He's got range. Let's talk. Let's do it.
All right. So the first one is probably man, oh my God, this movie, just like, talk about a performance. I don't think we could go up from here, in my opinion, although there is plenty of fantastic roles after this. But let's talk about Nicholas Winding Refn. Let's start out strong. Let's talk about Bronson. Becki, what's Bronson about?
Bronson is about...
We can't even stop yelling about this.
No, Bronson is about the most dangerous criminal in, was it Australia or UK? It was UK, right?
UK, yes.
UK. So he's a real guy. This is an autobiography. It's based on his biography. It's based on the book that he wrote about himself. He's crazy. He's just absolutely crazy, insane. And Tom Hardy captures this insanity on a level that I just can't even wrap my brain around. And he's naked.
Oh man, so much sausage in this one.
So much sausage. If you're all the sausage and peppers for this film, which, I mean, kudos to him. This was 2004, I want to say, and this is kind of, he was in these kind of rinky-dink roles for a while. I mean, he was in like Black Hawk Down, but it was never like, this was definitely his breakout performance. And Bronson watches like a play. It's like a Broadway performance. And, as I mentioned before, accents, he's doing multiple accents in this. He's doing multiple roles in this. Everyone gives him credit for doing that in Legend. This was, he was, because just the fact when he's sitting there and he's in the interview style and he's just kind of talking and,
he's kind of doing the crazy eye, and then he has this like disarming like boyhood smile when he finds something entertaining, and then he drops it back. It's just like that's in a lesser skilled hand that would have come off so dumb, but he just nails it.
He nails it. That movie it's so brilliant and disturbing, and yet there's this sort of like comedic, like, what is the word I'm looking for? Like old-timey comedy. Like and he just, like you said, there's this balance. And I think that he interjects comedy and at the right and the wrong time. So it's nightmare fuel.
Sure.
And it's just like, this guy, I would be horrified, like, being anywhere near this human being. Like, and he just is just brilliant in every scene. Like you said, he switches it up so many times. It's like vaudevillian. That's the word I'm looking for. It's kind of like this vaudevillian kind of like, kind of comedy interjected with this like story of this enormously violent human being that would be absolutely terrifying. And he just, like you said, he just nails it physically. His transformation in this film, he's not even Tom Hardy. Because, I mean, if you see Tom Hardy in like interviews where he doesn't have all the facial hair, that doesn't look anything like him at all. So again, completely transformative, completely nails it, and just throws himself into this intense performance. It's nothing less than intense.
It's so physical, because you had to do so many things with your body for this role. He had to stay, of course, in like the best shape, the best kind of Tom Hardy shape, because he's usually not, an out of shape kind of guy, but he is like rock solid in this role. And like you said, the physical, like he not only makes faces and makes different voices, but he transforms physically right before your very eyes when he's sitting there, and he'll just be very quiet. And then you could kind of see this Charlie Bronson character kind of come to the forefront, and then he just kind of white knuckles it. And for however he did it without special effects, he transforms into the Hulk. Like you see a Bruce Banner to the Hulk transformation, and there's no effects, no makeup, no nothing. I could have, if he didn't say anything, although all the monologues, especially in front of the canned audience, are fantastic. The dual role, with the makeup and everything, with the clown makeup. But if it was just, 90 minutes of him grunting, it would have been riveting.
Now, I am going to say right now that Tom Hardy has mastered the art of the grunt as legitimate dialogue. Like, there is nothing like the Tom Hardy grunt. And you know what? I don't get sick of it. And he always does it at a time. Obviously, it's improvised. And I love that they leave it in any film, in any role. They're like, nah, it's Tom Hardy's grunt. We got to leave it in. And I don't know how the grunt transcends every character. Like it's super weird, but it's his little trademark. It's his thing. And I don't think anybody could do it. It's just only he could do that.
Yeah, it was the perfect marriage between him and Nicholas Winding Refn, because Refn is such avant-garde kind of visual, almost toes the line of like a David Lynch at certain times, where it's almost breaking the fourth wall, and it's very loosey-goosey kind of abstract imagery. But it was just like certain scenes are just a work of art. And I don't want to like go into major spoilers, although, there's nothing really to spoil about Bronson. It's really it's a biopic about the most dangerous prisoner in UK's history. This man's still alive. But some of those shots where he, is towards the end of the movie where he has the art student or art director of the prison kind of held hostage, and all you just get this really slow take of him just covered in black paint, and he's just standing so still like a statue. It's just like some of the imagery of this movie, or when he's out of prison and he's watching, the girl dance for the first time, and just all the emotion on his face, things clicking, things like at that point, he's like a mid-30s kind of gentleman, and he's experiencing and thinking about things as like a pubescent boy for the very first time. It's just, there's so much to do in that film. I could do a whole 2 hours on Bronson.
I agree. I totally agree. It makes me excited that you're excited about it. I'd have been totally bummed if you didn't like that one because that one is legit.
Sure. Yeah. Oh God, so good.
Mhm.
Fun. Well, remind me to bring up a fun fact when we get to Legend, kind of that ties those two movies together. But I'll save it for later. Right now, the chat is threatening to unsubscribe unless we talk about a Christopher Nolan film. So let's talk about Inception.
Okay, well, I saw Inception and I didn't really enjoy it. Sorry, everybody.
Moving on.
I saw it a while ago, so I didn't feel it was worth the rewatch. It's not one of Leo's best. I know it has a cult following. I don't think I didn't enjoy it.
Okay. Inception's okay. Inception's a good movie. Inception's a great film. It's a visual achievement. Christopher Nolan, and Dr. Efron in the chat's just like, have you guys done Christopher Nolan yet on director's cut? No, it is definitely in the cards because I do want to talk about him because I think that he is a great filmmaker and everything. And I'm not going to go too much into this isn't a Christopher Nolan thing, but Inception to me was just a little too cute. I just thought it was just a little bit too much on that side of it where they're just like, I don't know. He was just coming off the Batman franchise, and like Christopher Nolan, his fart smelled like cherries, and he could do no wrong. And then he made Inception, and I think a lot of people remember it like going to the theater and liking it better, and then going back and then watching it. It doesn't hold up as well to me. And I'm a Christopher Nolan fan. I think and we're going to talk about another one of his films that Tom Hardy's in. But I just, for some reason, I just didn't really. And again, I'm not saying it's a bad film. I just didn't really appreciate Inception as much as other people did.
I agree. I feel the same way. I don't think it was like the worst film I've ever seen. It was definitely not. It just was a little too, like you're saying, it was too cute. It was a little too hokey for me. I don't know. It just wasn't speaking to me. It wasn't speaking my language. Sorry.
There is a full on riot in the chat right now.
Oh no, we're getting lynched. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. All right. Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. This was a holdover from our Gary Oldman show. I still didn't see it, but you can talk about Tom Hardy in it.
I can talk about Tom Hardy's role in Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Isn't huge, but it's really significant. He's kind of like he's the guy that kind of bridges everything together and whatever. I still like that movie. There's a lot of moving parts to that film. I mean, the acting is beautiful. It's a lovely film. It's a lot to take in, a lot of information. So you can't half-ass watch it, which is what I did. Like I was watching it when I had like food poisoning.
Oh God!
And so I was like really trying hard, but I was like sick in bed, and I was like trying to watch it. I'm like, I'm watching this movie if it kills me. And I like Engelbert Humperdinck or Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh God!
Whatever his name is. No, I love Benedict Cumberbatch. I think he's great, and it was great to see all of those amazing British actors in one film. It did not disappoint in that way. I just wish that I would have been paying more attention to the plot. You can't sleep through any scene in that movie. Otherwise, if you didn't watch like one scene, the whole movie's ruined for you, and you're like, I have no idea what's happening. There are so many people, so many characters in that movie. It's crazy, but I know it's a good film, and I felt that the acting was good. I just wish that I would have paid more attention to detail.
Is he more of a the forefront? Is he the star of the film, or is it more Gary Oldman?
No, I mean Gary Oldman is definitely the star of the film. Tom Hardy doesn't even come in until like halfway through the film, so his performance is fine. Like it's his performance standing alone is quite good in this film. It's not as intense. It's not as hardy as his other. It's not as hardy as, like you said. It's not when you were watching Warrior, but we'll get to that later. But it's not as hardy as some of the other Tom Hardy performances, if you know what I mean.
Sure. Well, let's talk about the hardiest Hardy film that ever hardied, and that is Warrior. Oh, jeez. Where's my UFC fans at? Where's my dude bros?
No.
Oh, God.
Such a dude bro movie. Oh, my God. It was painful. This movie was really painful to watch. can't even. I just can't. So, I mean, here's the deal. His performance, again, if it was to stand alone, amazing. Like another completely transformative performance for him. The way he walks, the way he holds his body, the way he speaks, his hair, complete physical transformation once again. Doesn't even need makeup. I mean, this guy just is this chameleon, this crazy chameleon. Again, with the accent, perfect American accent.
Well,
Perfect.
he was from Philly this time. He was kind of,
yeah,
Johnny from across the wrong side of the tracks.
Right. You're complete typical bad boy. The rest of the film, I could have cared less what happened to any of them. I'm whatever. I don't care. Like, what's her name? I can't remember her name. She's from Once Upon a Time, and she's also from House, the blonde that was the brother.
Oh, she's just the worst.
She's cute, but I guess that was awesome because we got to see her in her underwear. Yay! Okay, that's fine. I mean, aside from that, she was useless in this film. I mean, this movie was just absolute. I don't know, just absolute garbage. And I hate to just shit all over a movie, but there's nothing. I was watching the end of it going, thank fuck this thing's over. Because I just wasted so much time on Dude Bros. I can't get any of my life back. And all the douchiness. This movie has all of the douchiness, all of it.
Okay, I'm not going to be as harsh on it because I thought Joel Edgerton was okay as the brother. And I'm not gonna lie. Once they got to the tournament, I was starting to kind of get into it. Like I was just
I did too. I'll admit. I was feeling it too.
Yeah, the fight choreography was actually pretty decent. Like I
agree.
I used to watch UFC all the time, so I've kind of moved on past that in my life. But watching it, I'm like, this looks like a UFC fight. And I liked that he just came in, threw one punch, and then left. And he knew that he was too good for the movie.
That's what I don't know. He's like, boom, I'm out.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Right.
I was laughing. Like we were watching it laughing because it's like, oh, okay, well there's that's the Tom Hardy scene right there. He just left.
And that's all he needed.
Yeah. I mean, there's the moment, where they're wrestling and he broke his arm and he's like, I love you. It's going to be okay. Yeah. And then Nick Nolte with his teary, weird old man eyes. Oh, God.
They're just can't. It was a movie about two grown men being very mean to an elderly gentleman.
Right? That's exactly what it was. And Nick Nolte just walks around through the whole thing going, I've changed 1,000 days, 1,000 days. I'm I can't with 1,000 days anymore.
Oh, man. Yeah, just so fun. He had all the rocks shoved in his mouth.
Though. I will admit, it's it was awful, but it was fun. I'll admit. I mean, I did shit on it a lot, but that's my honest opinion about it as a film. But was it fun? Yeah, it was fun because I laughed. It was fun. I had a good laugh.
It was super schlocky. I mean, it's the schlockiest movie. But someone in the chat, Towns Prescott, says as far as the MMA film goes, it's pretty good. It's fair. Like I said, the fight choreography was good. The performances from the two leads were good. Nick Nolte though, it was just so tonally bizarre, and I just felt so uncomfortable. This old man, and it didn't even it didn't even explain why they hated him so much. So apparently, man, we're spending too much time on this, but apparently one of the brothers decided to live with dad and the other brother decided to live with mom, and mom wound up getting cancer and dying or something.
No, that's
and so everyone hates the elderly man.
No, that's not what happened. So the father was this alcoholic, abusive piece of shit that used to beat the shit out of their mother.
Oh, okay.
So the mother left.
How did you understand that?
And then I don't know, because I don't know. The mother left, and then Tom Hardy's character went and lived with his mother and took care of her, rubbed her down with holy water because she had no health insurance, whatever.
Oh,
and then
God. Did
and
I watch this?
I don't know. Did you? And then he was telling the story at the beginning when he goes to Nick Nolte's house. Why did he go to Nick Nolte's house? We don't know. Because whatever. You hate your dad so much? Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, but he wasn't training yet. I don't know. Whatever. Fuck it. So he's at Nick Nolte's house, and Nick Nolte's all, I don't drink anymore. And then Tom Hardy's all, yeah, but you did, and you're a jerk. No, you need to train me, but I hate you. What? And then you find out later that the older brother was like, I'm amazing and I'm this really nice guy and I'm a physics teacher, but I'm going to fight people in a stripper's parking lot, whatever.
Sure.
Which was totally unrealistic.
Oh, God.
I can't even go there. Okay, so moving on. So then we find out that the older brother, right? The older brother ran away with the girlfriend.
And they got married.
And they got married and left the younger brother to take care of the mother on his own.
Sure.
So Tom Hardy is an angry, angsty guy. I mean, that's what happened.
But they both, like, did the visceral reaction when Nick Nolte shows up on your lawn, just like, you get out of here. You can't meet your grandkids. It's just like, God, man.
I like the little girl's all, who's that daddy's all, just a nice old man.
That I'm telling to fuck off. It's just like, oh my God.
Oh, so good. I love it. I just love it. It's funny.
I think we like The Warrior for, different reasons than most people enjoyed it,
right.
But I got to put down my drink for the next one.
What's the next one?
Because we're talking about The Dark Knight.
No.
The Dark Knight Rises.
It's so funny because, okay, I'm going to totally come clean. I'm going to come clean on this one. I did not watch this whole film, and I will tell you why. I like the Bale Nolan Batmans. I like them. Once Ben Affleck steps in, I'm out. But I like that. But this one, I hate Anne Hathaway, and I hate her. I just hate her. And here's the deal: like, I love
Natalie Portman.
She's no Natalie Portman, right? I love Catwoman as a character. She's, me. You're my brother. Yep. I've loved Catwoman forever. Like back, I mean, I'm obviously not that old, but my first exposure to Catwoman was Julie Newmar and Eartha Kitt. So my love and admiration for that specific character, and then seeing, of course, Michelle Pfeiffer play her in the Burton. Oh my God,
who just
unbelievable! So Anne Hathaway, I don't understand. I'm so mad about that. So it kept me from watching the whole film. I can't, because she's just so, I can't, I just want to smush her. So I watched all the Bane parts and all the parts and all the parts with Tom Hardy and Christian Slater. And I have to say, it's like the battle of the weird voices. It's hilarious in every scene.
Yeah. What do you mean I can't have a sausage? Well, you can have it because you didn't eat it. It's like, what are you guys saying?
So I think that as a villain, I think he delivers. I think there's no arguing that. He absolutely delivers. And I think that he acts, I like Christian Slater. And I think that, not Christian Slater, holy shit.
I was going to say, I do too.
Christian Bale. I like Christian Bale. Yeah. I think no matter how we feel about Christian Bale as a person, I think he is a fantastic actor.
Why, is he a creep now too?
I mean, he's been a creep. He's got a terrible temper, but that's we'll do a Christian Bale show another time. But I think he's definitely a heavyweight when it comes to acting, and I think Tom Hardy acts this man right out of the movie. But I will say I have to mention this: the fight scenes are like, they're not choreographed all that well. And I feel like Tom Hardy, there's a physical grace to Tom Hardy in the fight scenes that Christian Bale just doesn't have. So it's like Batman's like, and then here's like Tom Hardy doing this like dance. And you can definitely see the difference physically in the two performances physically in the fight scenes for sure.
So let me just say this. I like The Dark Knight Rises. Probably it's my second favorite of. I am completely like 180 for most people with the Nolan franchise. I like Batman Begins as the best one because I don't know, and it's weird because it's an origin story, and we know where Batman Bruce Wayne came from. Yes, his parents are dead, blah blah blah. But I loved that they did Ra's al Ghul and Scarecrow, and I thought what's his name, Qui-Gon Jinn. Oh my God, Liam Neeson. I thought he did a great Ra's al Ghul. I thought Cillian Murphy again was a fantastic Scarecrow. Gary Oldman again, like we've talked about it. This is my second favorite. That opening scene, I think that the action set pieces in this film are just like incredible and breathtaking. The opening scene with Bane's introduction. There's no one like, who knows why he went this way with the voice, but he made it work. It takes you out of it for a second. You're just like, motherfucker, did he just say like that? And it's just like, he's this big dude with this crazy gas mask looking thing, but and he's talking like someone's grabbing his junk, but he's making it work. And it does come off as menacing because it makes you think of like those old like 1920s propaganda, like 1930s 40s propaganda, like Nazi films, where they had like this crazy like doctor explaining why the Aryan race is the best and all this stuff. It's like he went to some weird, really dark place to bring this out. And at first, I didn't get it, but then the more you kind of watch it and the more that you get into it, I think he kills it. And I thought he gave more personality and more gravitas to the Bane character, because Bane is just this kind of crazy, brutish character that gets like injected with his venom and then he kind of hulks out. But they made Bane like a mastermind criminal in this, and it's just, I mean, the film is almost flawless. It's one of my favorite Christopher Nolan films. Yeah, Anne Hathaway, but they didn't give her a lot to do, especially for Catwoman. Right. She's really not in it that much.
Right. And I trust that. And I probably will go back and watch it because I feel the same way you do about Batman Begins. I love it. I think it's fantastic, and it was so nice. It was so refreshing to see Batman have someone create films and do it justice again.
Yes,
I am a big fan of the Tim Burton Batmans, but once Burton stopped directing and they gave it to somebody else, and we had Val Kilmer, and then there's this weird Batman stage where it was like, just throw in any hunk and they can throw Batman, and we're just going to make every villain like ridiculous, even though some of it is fun. There are elements of that are fun. My two favorite obviously are the first two Burton Batmans, and I still stand by that today. And then when I saw the Christian Bale or the Nolan Batmans, I was like, finally. And then they like fucked it up and gave it to somebody else and then put Ben Affleck in there. God, why would you do that?
Yeah, talk about squeezing a sausage into its casing.
Ugh, God, yeah, so hokey. Anyway, so I feel the same way you do about all that. I do think the film, like I said, I'll go back and watch it. It's in its entirety. I loved all the scenes I watched with him in it. He can't help but steal scenes. He is an absolute scene stealer. And I really, really realized that when I started watching Peaky Blinders. Cillian Murphy is amazing. He's an amazing actor. And actually, the whole cast of Peaky Blinders is like top notch. But when Tom Hardy is in a scene, there is nobody in that scene. I think they give Cillian Murphy very few lines in like Tom Hardy scenes, because what's the point? What's the point?
Sure.
Just let him do his thing. And I don't know how much of the script he sticks to, but I feel like there's definitely a style of his that is improvised. It has to be. I
think so. And I think someone like a Christopher Nolan has that kind of professional wherewithal to be like, I have these pieces. What can I do with them? And if you have someone like a Tom Hardy that is just so good at dialect and accents and just bringing a physicality and a brutality to the roles. Yeah, I mean, let him off the leash, and I think that's exactly what they did, and I think that's exactly why they got such a great performance out of it.
I agree. I totally agree.
Oh man, it's just so. I love Dark Knight Rises so much. But yeah, the next one. This was the last Tom Hardy film I crammed in today, right before we did this, and that's Lawless. So it's right there. So I'm going to. Lawless is about 1930s prohibition, centers around three brothers, who is Tom Hardy's the oldest one, named Forrest. Yes. And then you got the second one, and I forgot his name. He's in stuff. And then you have Shia LaBeouf, he's credited as the main star, but it is quite a ensemble role. I mean, you have or ensemble cast rather. You have Jessica Chastain, you have Gary Oldman. Again, I don't know how I missed this one when we did the Gary Oldman thing, because although he's not in it a ton, he's still fun to this was definitely a fun movie to review. it has the girl that plays Alice in the new shitbag Alice in Wonderland films, but it's they're just horrible. It's just visual vomit.
Right.
But this was fun, but I kept thinking just as much as Warrior is about two gentlemen being mean to an elderly person, this is about Shia LaBeouf, like, as a puppy shitting on the floor constantly and people having to clean it up.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. Yes, it is. But you know what? I love Tom Hardy in this film. I think that he is so good at like just understating just enough to where you're just like, you know what I mean? Like he never overacts. I've never seen him like overact in any film. And in fact, he underacts sometimes, but not to the point, very subtly, and just to the point where you want more. And you're just like, and in this film, he does a lot of grunting and he does a lot of the look, you know, that his facial expressions are unbelievable.
Got a good dad look.
Yeah, he's got a good dad look. He's got a good scowl, but without contorting his face. Anyway, fantastic, very level performance for him in this film. However, I cannot go without mentioning Guy Pearce.
Yeah. Sorry, I laughed, but what are you going to say?
His performance in this film, like, he was a very comic booky kind of villain in this, like, you know, and I loved like the sort of, he's like a caricature of like a Chicago mobster, like shithead.
He was a Dick Tracy character.
Yeah, but he was so good. Like he was so like larger than his for what it was. He was just absolutely larger than life in this film. And I cannot go without mentioning that. I think that the contrast between Guy Pearce's over-the-top performance and then you have Tom Hardy's sort of level performance really created a fun dynamic in the film. And I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was great.
I mean, Guy Pearce, hashtag where's the eyebrows?
Oh my God. Yes.
I didn't like looking at him in this.
And that shaved part. I mean, he really made himself disgusting. And anybody with fucked up eyebrows is terrifying to me. Anyway.
Do you watch Impractical Jokers at all?
I do not.
Okay. Impractical Joker. Wow, we're really digressing here. But Impractical Jokers is a show on the True Network. Like no one watches it, but it's basically centers around this group of 4 friends that live to embarrass each other. That's the shtick of the show, and it's like almost like a prank show where they're kind of just putting themselves into different situations with, you know, it's like candid camera almost. But one of them's name is Murr. One of the 4's name is Murr. He looks just like Guy Pearce from this movie, and it was freaking me out because one of the punishments for Murr was they shaved everything and they took his eyebrows. So I was flipping out. I'm like, oh my God, this is where they got this because he looks just like him. And it was so bizarre. Like Guy Pearce was so icky in this role. I didn't want to look at him straight on.
But I loved it. I loved the ickiness. Like he was so delicious in this film. Deliciously. Made me very happy. I like Guy Pearce, but I think this role for Guy Pearce, because Guy Pearce could easily go like sex symbol guy with the smolder. He's played obviously a super flamboyant drag queen. That's where I first saw Guy Pearce was in, I don't know how many times did I watch that you know of, Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. Did I make you watch that over and over again?
Yeah.
I mean, that was one of my movies on rotation. I love that film still. And Hugo Weaving, of course, and Terrence Stamp. I mean, that is a fantastic film. But to watch, Guy Pearce is a great range also. But in this film, the contrast between he and Tom Hardy was really fun.
Yeah, he was Murr and Howie Mandel in this role, and it was just really stressing me out. But yeah, just going back to Tom Hardy, it was like Tom Hardy playing fantasy Tom Hardy, where it's just like this guy really thinks he's invincible, and he's just like he did nothing, and it was everything in this role because he literally would just. Shit would always be going on because Shia LaBeouf was such a spaz in this film.
Right. Total spaz.
Tom Hardy would just walk into a room. Everyone would shut the fuck up and look at him. He'd say 2 things like really low and then like smack someone around and leave. And I'm just like, yeah. This was like the mic drop movie for Tom Hardy.
Totally. I think that every movie's a mic drop movie. But you're right. Like he has this weird thing where he's like, and then the grunt and then the low voice. He punches someone in the face and he's fucking out. That's it. We're done.
Yeah. I mean, no one does it better.
And the Oscar goes to Tom Hardy.
No one does it better.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Someone or Efren in the chat says that's his real life. That's
Yeah.
probably. I mean, I did watch an interview because, like I said, I wanted to see what the man even really sounded like in real life, and he even said he's like, yeah, I try to do this film because blah blah blah, but I just keep getting costed and beating people up, and maybe I'll just keep doing that because it seems like people enjoy that, and it's like, yeah, man, just do it.
Have you seen interviews with him and Leo together when they were like promoting the Revenant?
I did not. I wanted to.
They're hilarious. So Tom Hardy gives no fucks, but
Right.
Leo is very like composed and articulate, and he's Leo, But here's Tom Hardy like slumped in a chair, and like the I saw this interview where it was Leo and Tom Hardy, and the interviewer guy like gave them like a care package, and it had like these smoked chocolate chips and all this other stuff and like little edibles or whatever in this package. And the idiot that's like conducting the interview didn't give it to them after. He gave it to them at the beginning of the show. And like, so Tom Hardy just busts open this can of like smoked chocolate chips and starts shoving them in his face and just like looking over at Leo as Leo's answering all the questions. And then the interviewer, it's so awkward. It is like so awkward to watch. And Leo's kind of trying not to like pay attention to what he's doing. And it's absolutely hilarious because like at some point, like Tom Hardy just like Leo goes, well, can I taste one? He's like, So
he Tom Hardy grunts.
Yeah, he grunts and he like kind of like gives him like he gives him the can, and Leo takes one like a civilized person, and here's like Tom Hardy just shoving these handfuls of chocolate chips in his face. It's hilarious.
Oh
so
man,
it's so awkward. He used to like steal cars and stuff. The guy has like a past,
I could see that.
But now he's like, I don't know, but now he does dub smash videos that are hilarious, and he does like. There's like a video I found of him on YouTube where he's like rapping with his baby son like strapped to his chest. He's hilarious. Oh. The guy is awesome. I just love him.
All right, yeah. So Lawless, what did you think about? Did you love the film besides him and Guy Pearce? Or
I enjoyed this film. Do I think it's the best film? No, I mean there are elements to the film that were a little cartoony to me. And considering it was a biopic, it was actually a film about real people. And so it was interesting that it had, I'm sorry, I'm like adjusting myself and whatever, but no. I thought it was a little cartoony on that level. It's not going to win any awards, or maybe it did, I don't know. But I didn't get that vibe from it, but it was a fun watch.
Yeah, I don't think it was like a big theatrical release too, because I don't remember anyone talking about this film, and it has some clout to it as far as the performers involved. Like, you put Guy Pearce, Tom Hardy, Jessica Chastain, all these people in a film, and it usually gets a lot more buzz than this did. And I just heard zero about it until you guys told me about it, and it's Shia did okay. He played Shia LaBeouf in the 1930s. He was just right. He played the emotion he's good at, and that's manic. He's just like a manic freakazoid, and he's shaking. And I just love how he thinks he's the shit, and they just like constantly just smacking him around. Dane DeHaan did great in this film. I usually cannot stand Dane DeHaan, but he played like the brewer of the moonshine. He was great. I thought it ended kind of cheesy. I thought it was kind of dumb. But yeah, for the most part, it was an enjoyable film. Is it a must watch? Maybe not. There's other Tom Hardy films that I would watch before this one, but it was definitely a fun film. If you like alcohol and you want to see Hardy do another Southern accent, go watch this.
Right. I agree. Yep. I'm glad I did watch it though. It is good. I enjoyed it still.
Sure. All right. Next up, we have, a complete 180 turn. Becki, what is Locke about?
So Locke is actually based on a play, if I'm not mistaken, but Tom Hardy is the only person in this movie.
Yep.
Aside from voices. He's driving in a car. He's a Welshman, and he's driving to London because he had an affair on his he cheated on his wife on a business trip and impregnated another woman who he was not in love with, who he barely knew, but she decided to have the baby anyway. So the film is actually him talking her through the labor and the birth, and also telling his wife what's going on. And also trying to direct the largest cement pour in European history, and the stress and everything we watch on this car ride. So everybody else in the film is on speakerphone, and you just see him go through the emotions and speak to his dead father in the backseat, who's not really there.
Yeah, and you got to see Venom talk to Spider-Man. Tom Holland,
Tom Holland,
is
that's
on the
right.
phone.
Tom Holland is actually one of his children, yeah.
What is it about that kid? You don't even need to see him, and he breaks your heart. Like,
I just love him.
He broke my heart in Infinity War, and then the phone calls. Okay, I watched Locke the other night. It was like 2 a.m, and I kept like kind of nodding off, and then I like kind of rewind it a little bit. Not because it was boring; it was just because I was exhausted. And I didn't want to miss a second of it. So, I think it's an 80-minute movie. It's not even a 90-minute movie. Yeah. It's very, very short. But it's just enthralling. And it's just a guy in a car, and it's Tom Hardy not hitting anyone in the face with brass knuckles. It's just him looking tired. It's just sleepy time Tom Hardy, and it's the chamomile tea of fine film, and it's just I loved this film so much.
I did too.
It's him on business calls, like
Yeah, but you know what? I feel the same way about this film. I didn't think that I was going to dig it, and I totally love it. I think that only someone like Tom Hardy could carry this film. This was a very specific kind of role, and I think that he keeps you there the whole time. I think, he's not grunting in this film. He's not, he's speaking very articulately. In fact, he's trying to keep everyone calm amongst
his world crumbling.
All of the chaos. So it's interesting. Like, he's speaking to his wife. He's overly practical with his wife. Like, he's like, I think that we should speak about fuck you. Like, you. You just, are you kidding me? You're not coming home for dinner because you fucked some other woman and you got her pregnant and now this. It's like, no, you're.
But that's how she reacted, and that was very dead on. This movie is very exactly how this real thing would play out.
Right, and it's so interesting because there is no real ending to this film. We don't really get to know. I mean, others aside from the conversations they have in the car, we don't really get to know what really happens once he gets out of the car.
Right.
We never see the woman on the other end. We never see the baby. We never see his wife. We never see his children. It's just unbelievable, and I really love this film. I love it.
This film is not a good film. It is a special film. They filmed it in 3 days. 3 days. These people made a film. These people made a movie. And this is how this movie was made. I went deep on this film because I watched it. And I'm like, what did I just see?
Right. I felt the same way.
Oh my God. They filmed it as just him in a actual car in real time. So it plays out like a teleplay. Tom Hardy admits he didn't even memorize his lines. He read everything off of a teleprompter while they're filming it. So and they're actually talking. So all the disembodied voices, all the Tom Holland's, his wife, his 2 sons, his boss, the other like backup foreman that he's trying to walk everything through, they were all physically in a room, in a conference room, on taking different times on the speakerphone, calling him. So they shot this film in 3 days. They filmed it all in kind of a one take. It wasn't so much a one take, but they did it while he was on a rig. The car was on a rig, and they were pulling the car through this freeway. And they filmed it multiple times the same way just to get multiple angles.
Right.
But it's just, I mean, think about that. Like, that's where movies are now. And that was, I was like so impressed with this film once it ended. But then reading more into it, I just like gained so much more respect for this film. About how it was made, just like it was written perfectly. If this script was weak, there were so many checkpoints that if anything was weak, it would have fallen apart. If the script sucked, if a performance sucked, if anything came off as unbelievable or anything like that, it would have fallen apart. And it was just a special film.
I agree completely. Like I said, it's very much almost like a hidden gem. I mean, a lot of people don't speak about this film. And it is Absolutely phenomenal as far as I'm concerned. And no, it's not epic production wise, but it doesn't need to be. It's all about the performance, and that is it.
Yeah, and that's what makes
all
it
we
more
need.
special.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Oh God, it's on Netflix right now. So I mean, everyone go.
Yes.
It's on. It's available. It's free. It's on Netflix. It's like I said, it's a brisk 80 minutes. I'm sorry if we spoiled a little. We probably spoiled a little bit too much, but I mean, it's just if you want to see Tom Hardy in a different light, if you want to see him, and maybe everyone, that's his brand is just being a brute, and he goes in and he whips some ass and all that, and that's fine. All power to you. But if you want to see just a beautiful character piece from a brilliant actor, wow, Locke, just man, I'm Ivan Locke. It's just fantastic. Let's move on. Let's go to the drop. You did not see this film.
I saw the first 15 minutes, so I can tell you that his accent was dead on again.
Yeah. Yep.
I saw up to the point where he rescues the pit bull from the trash can, and that's pretty much that's as far as I got, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's not something that I think we need to spend a ton of time on. I thought this was one of James Gandolfini's final roles, which was pretty sad. It was pretty heartbreaking to watch him because he was being Tony Soprano in it, in my opinion. For the most part, it's definitely a lower budget film. It has Naomi Rapace from like Alien Covenant in there, or whatever the first of the reboots was. I don't even care anymore. They're just whatever. Oh no, it was a Prometheus. She's in Prometheus. But it was just, yeah, I mean, the long and short of it, it's just about kind of this. He plays a bartender named Bobby. Who works for his cousin who owns the bar that he works at, and shenanigans ensue and stuff happens around them, and it's just them kind of dealing with it. There is quite a twist at the end of like it's really this person that's the asshole, or it's really this person that you got to watch out for, which is kind of interesting. It's almost like a mini Shyamalan twist at the end. But I mean, it's definitely not my favorite Tom Hardy film, like not even close. But it's worth a watch if you like kind of like crime dramas or something like that, like a whodunit type thing. It's a serviceable suspense thriller with really good performances.
Right. Well, a couple people in the I saw someone in the chat say that the film is not great, but it's a solid performance from Tom. So, I mean, and it's funny because even if someone were to have told me that, or to tell me that the movie's not great, but Tom Hardy it's worth it. He's so great that it would be worth it to sit through a subpar film to watch a stellar performance from him.
Fair. Yeah. He's just very solemn in it, like you mentioned earlier, where he was in Lawless. He's very understated. He is like, if he's understated in Lawless, he's on fucking Valium in The Drop.
I'd watch the rest of it. I mean, I would. I'd go back, but yeah, it's not. I wouldn't like seek that sort of movie out, I guess. But like I said before, someone was saying that it's a solid performance from him, and that would be worth a watch, I think.
And real quick, the one thing that I wanted to mention about Locke, this is how riveting The Drop is. I want to talk about Locke some more. My one issue with the Locke is how it just ends, or the Locke. That's my only gripe about Locke being just a perfect film. I wanted a little bit more of a resolution. It just literally ends in like a middle of a scene, and I'm like, oh, just a little bit more, and this would have been perfect.
But I don't know. I kind of feel like I feel good about that. I feel
really?
like maybe like that's all we need. Maybe that's all we needed. We didn't need to see how this wraps up. It was all about the conflict. It's not about the solution or the resolution. Of course, as humans, we want closure, right?
Yeah.
And of course, that would probably be more satisfying for us as people, However, I think for the performance and for the film, it's not completely necessary.
Yeah.
That's how I felt about it. I was okay with the ending. I was okay with not knowing. I was like, wow, that was enough for me. It was yeah, Debbie even just said it ended perfectly. I agree. But I see where you're coming from. I see where that would be more satisfying.
Usually I dig the ambiguous endings. Like I love Paul Thomas Anderson. Nothing gets resolved in a Paul Thomas Anderson film. Everyone's just kind of left holding the check. And this film, it's just the way that it kind of played out. I don't know. I felt like I earned a little bit of a resolution, but who the hell am I? Like those people know, they made a beautiful film. So yeah, I totally get where your guys' take on it. I personally, for some reason, with that particular film, I just wanted more. We have 3 heavy hitters left, and we're running up against it. So let's jump right into Mad Max Fury Road. Woo!
Oh my God. This film is just epic. I just can't say enough about this film visually, makeup wise, the performances, just the sounds even in this movie, just like the rumbling of this movie is really exciting. Like I can't say, and I was around, when the first Mad Max, the Mel Gibson Mad Max was the thing, but and that's still iconic. I mean, you gotta like a little Mad Max, but did he pull this out? Yeah, he fucking pulled it out. And it's really funny because he and Charlize Theron did not get along. They do not like each other. And I don't think he gives any fucks. Like in real life, they don't like each other.
She seems like a bit of a pill.
She does seem like a bit of it. She was like, oh, he's rude and she's very uppity, in my opinion. I don't know. I don't know her, but that's what it seems like to me. And he's just kind of like, I don't know. I don't fucking care. I'm not trying to
sit over here and grunt.
Yeah, right. But he was fantastic. The film is just the right kind of intense. It's dirty. It's gritty. He's perfect. It's perfect.
Oh, it's an absolute thrill ride. It is a buckle up, shut the fuck up, and just get your face melted. I mean, it's Mad Max Fury Road I think it was my favorite movie of that year, not close. It's a Cirque du Soleil show, but one that you're probably not going to survive from. I have so many Magic the Gathering people in the chat, so you guys will get this reference because you're dorks like I am. It was like watching like a real life Rakdos carnival on the screen. Sorry, Becki, you're not going to get that, but it was just like, it's just crazy, and everyone was on board. It's like everyone like snuffed paint before making this film, and just like got turned loose in the desert, and it's visually a masterpiece. As far as Tom Hardy goes, I thought he did great. I thought he was, you think of Mad Max, and of course Mel Gibson is burned into your brain. It's like if they recast Die Hard and took Bruce Willis out of there. I don't know. I've never seen one of those horrible films, but Mad Max was like, his portrayal of Mad Max was what it needed to be, because yes, it was a Mad Max film, but it was very much a Furiosa film. I think that no matter how much, she's a jerk or not, she was just amazing in this film. She was absolutely incredible.
I like her. I think she's a good actress. She just seems like kind of a dick, but she's a great actress. But yeah, in this film, I have to agree. I agree with everything you just said. I think the film, like I said before, is an epic piece. It's fun to watch, and I mean, even for I don't know. I like the grit in this film. It's unparalleled.
Yeah.
So I agree. I agree with everything.
The practical effects on this, them actually flipping cars, and I mean, it's just, there was so much. There was a reason why Mr. Miller took so long to make another sequel to Mad Max. Is because he wanted to make sure that he could do what he wanted to do, and with the technology and everything that was available, and just a spectacle. Someone in the chat said, I stole that from you, but it's a goddamn spectacle, and it's just incredible. It's a brilliant masterpiece. But let's go to where he had a lot more to do than he did in Mad Max. I mean, they probably put him through the physical ringer more in this film than any other film.
Right. Oh, absolutely. I think for the whole cast.
Yeah. I mean, everyone is probably pissed off.
Yeah, I'm sure that they sang for their dinner in that one.
All right. Sure. What's Legend about, Becki?
Oh my God, yay. Okay, so Legend is about which is ironic because like Bronson, the connection is those two films. is that they are both about notorious criminals in England. So the Cray brothers were twin brothers that were crime bosses in the UK in the 1950s, and they were awful, whatever. And they were actual real people, Reggie and Ronnie Cray. And if you're a Morrissey fan, you've heard the song "Last of the Famous Last of the International Famous Playboys." Or I can't believe I'm getting that wrong.
You had it, and then you fumbled it down.
But anyway, so Morrissey obviously sang a song about the Cray brothers in the late 80s, early 90s, and then there was a horrible film that I used to make my little brother watch all the time called The Crays, with the two brothers from Spandau Ballet.
Oh my God!
Playing the Crays. So the twin brothers, well, they're not twins actually. The brothers in Spandau Ballet played the Cray brothers in a 1980s, 90s version of the Crays. And then here's legend. So it's about the brothers, and Tom Hardy plays both brothers. And fuck me, it is amazing. This movie is nothing less than amazing. This is the hardiest of Tom Hardy movies ever.
Well, yeah, because he covered everything.
He covered everything. And let me tell you something. When he's playing both guys, again, there's this thing where his posture is different, his voice is different, he walks different. They could have easily been two different people. He could easily be two different people in this film. And it's the edits are so beautifully done. Yes. It's like you don't even see, like it's seamless. It's seamless. I love this film, and one of my favorite lines is when he was like, when they're in the big bar brawl, the pub brawl, and he comes in and he's like, I wanted a shootout like a Western, and he walks out. It's like the best. Annoying. Oh my God, I love it. And he's like spitting, and it's just, this movie is, I love this movie.
Well, talk about it from a makeup standpoint too. I mean, you're Miss Makeup. I mean, the makeup in this is incredible.
The makeup in this is incredible. It's funny because, we'll talk about Taboo because I have feels about that when we speak to makeup, and that just reminded me. It's flawless. Everything in this film, it's such a beautiful period piece, like from the sets and of course the backdrop of England in the 50s, and the cars and the costuming. The makeup is gorgeous in this film. Again, completely seamless, flawless, gorgeous. I love this film.
This was the film. I think I told you, Debbie, and I were chatting earlier on our little group chat, and I said Tom Hardy. After watching this film, that's when I kind of came to this conclusion: is Tom Hardy is the resurrection of a Hollywood leading man, or at least this is what a leading man should be, because it took this film to really be like, this guy is legit. And I watched this kind of earlier on in my little case study here for this show, but I watched it and I'm like, God, this is just brilliant. He pulls off, because the dichotomy between the two is not just it's a physical thing and all that, but he literally plays two separate people completely. And yes, one of them looks like Tom Hardy, but the other one, in Ronnie, you don't even see Tom Hardy in that. No. Like I couldn't even see him, and they're playing twins. He was the closest to James Dean I've ever seen any actor since James Dean in this, especially in some of the scenes where oh my God, this movie starts out as a comedy, and then it ratchets up and goes into a romantic, like almost like a rom-com. He's climbing the water main to get to her window and give her a lemon sherbet sweet, and he's standing outside her door, leaning against his car. So like the James Dean iconography was so prevalent. I'm just like, God, this guy is a fucking star. And then you meet Ronnie Cray, and it's just everything goes off the rails. And it's like you get the twins fighting, and it's like a big Tom Hardy masturbatory brilliance. It's just, oh my God, it's just great. I mean, everything about this film was fantastic. I don't know why it didn't win all the awards, because it should have. It just keeps it. the film itself, like its two characters, the arc just transforms and turns into something different all the time. And by the end of it, it's just disgusting. You just feel like cored out. You're just like, fuck, like this was not a happy ending whatsoever. It's actually the exact opposite. And what I was teasing before when we were talking about Bronson is Charlie Bronson and the Cray brothers were actually they were neighbors in prison at one point, and Charles Bronson went on record saying that the Cray brothers are the coolest people he's ever known in his life.
I did not know that. That is a really cool piece of trivia. That is really cool, actually. It's also, I mean, in a disturbing, dark sort of way, but whatever.
Sure, yeah. If Charlie Bronson likes you.
Yeah, right. But how neat. I mean, I don't know. That's just a really cool piece of trivia. And ironic that Tom Hardy played both roles.
Yeah. All three roles.
Yeah, right. All three roles. Yeah. Yeah. And there's like these subtleties in him playing Ronnie where he's just like the Chaz Palminteri scenes where he's like, I like you. And then he's like, I prefer boys. You're like, what?
Yeah.
He's like, you got balls. Like, I don't know. It's just like these amazing little things that he says under his voice and that nasally deep voice. It's just so perfect. Like, I can't. And then, of course, the heartbreaking performance of his girlfriend, of his wife,
Emily Browning.
Yeah. Oh, wow. What a beautiful, she gave a great performance as well. I really enjoyed that also. This film is, again, one of those seamless, perfect pieces of perfection for me. I mean, everything, like you said, from the makeup is flawless, the costuming, just the loveliness of the backdrop, and there's so much to eat up in this film. I love the violence. Yeah. I think the violence in this film is so fun. He's just bashing people over the head with a fucking hammer. It's awesome. Like, how do you not absolutely love this film? I think there's something for everyone in this film.
Yes. And he as what's Ronnie's, who's Reggie, right? Reggie. He's the good twin. Right. You I could tell it's just like when you're like watching this film, if you're a guy, you want to beat Reggie, and if you're a girl, you're in love with Reggie because he's just this like very debonair, dashing, like romantic type. And by the end of it, he is just the worst. And you're just like, God, like you feel violated for feeling those good feelings about him with how much of a fucking asshole he becomes towards the end.
Well, that's interesting because you go on her journey with her. She is the narrator, and you're sort of seeing the decline of it all through her eyes, and how, yeah, at the end of the day, he was a piece of shit, and what a sociopath they both were, which is ironic because Reggie was the one that was like, oh, I hate my brother, but he only hated him because he mirrored the parts of him he hated about himself.
Yes.
And that was the whole thing. And God, did they capture that perfectly. You know what? It really excites me that you are comparing Tom Hardy to James Dean, because James Dean is one of my favorite actors of all time, even though there's only 3 films that he made. But we talked about him before, about how he was a scene stealer. He would walk in, and I referenced in another show that we did where they were making Giant, and Rock Hudson is in a room, and he's offering him money, and James Dean comes in, and he has this lasso. He's playing with the lasso, which wasn't in the script, and it totally pisses off Rock Hudson because he just completely has minuscule lines compared to Rock Hudson, but just the only thing you remember in that scene is James Dean grunting and playing with this lasso forever. We will always remember that. And it just excites me that you compare the two, because I think there is a James Dean-esque element to Tom Hardy in all of his performances where he really has to do very little to make a huge impact. And what a rare skill or talent that is in an actor. I mean, everybody's overacting these days, I feel. There's so much acting and so much dialogue and so much script. But Tom Hardy can walk into a scene and just be like, grunt, and you're like, fuck, that's it.
Yeah. Mic drop, boom.
Yeah, it's just amazing. So yeah, that's a great comparison.
If Tom Hardy was an action figure, one of his accessories would definitely be the brass knuckles, because this is the second movie he gets to don the brass knuckles, the first being Lawless.
Right.
It's just I mean,
yeah. But let's not forget, I know we didn't originally agree to talk about this because you haven't seen Taboo or Peaky Blinders.
Right.
But we have to talk about those just a little bit because they are so, I think they're so pivotal in his career. This man is interesting to me because he's not afraid to do TV. I know TV has changed over the years, especially since, you know, we have Netflix, which kind of legitimizes these miniseries or a television series where people are binge watching. You've got Game of Thrones, you've got Walking Dead, you've got these epic series where people will sit down and watch a whole 5 seasons in 1 week. You know, I'm not me though, never. But you know, to have him do Taboo is beautiful. It's excellent. It like Debbie just said, it's excellent. It is visually stunning. It's another period. He does period pieces really, really well.
He is, yeah.
He just transcends any decade to me. He could play anything from a gladiator to, like, you know, somebody on Wall Street now, modern times, whatever. But Taboo it's dark. It is bloody. It is half pirate, half horror, half drama. It is all of those things. And he's just talk about it's all grunting. The whole thing is the grunting and the top hat. Debbie says she loved the creepiness of his character. Yes, his character in Taboo is super creepy, but also Peaky Blinders. He plays a Jewish British Jew, like a Cockney Jew. Which what? What?
I just snorted.
Got the beard, and he has like little like syphilis sores on his face. And he's just
wonderful.
Gross, but at the same time, every scene with him, you're just absolutely captivated by him. Every scene, like I said, why they give Cillian Murphy dialogue, but I don't remember. All I can remember in every Peaky Blinder scene is Tom Hardy's performance. That's all I remember. I mean, and he's like calm, and then he has this weird like drop off where he's just like super violent and horrible, but then in the next moment he's calm again, and it's comical. The way he plays these violent guys, the way he does in Bronson, it is comical, but it is captivating and believable and completely, again, transformative. I've said that word like 8,000 times, but I don't know a better word to describe his performances in any of these pieces.
Yeah.
So the Peaky Blinders is definitely worth the watch. I have binge watched like all the seasons like 3 times. I will totally admit.
He comes in quite late, right? In the series.
He does come in a little late, but it just doesn't even matter. It's so worth. I mean, the show itself is.
I heard
amazing.
It's pretty phenomenal.
It's amazing. Like, talk about makeup and costuming and just visually stunning. The violence in this is fun, and I love that it's set to a contemporary soundtrack. You wouldn't think it works, but it totally works. So it's just gritty and edgy and sexy. And Tom Hardy, of course, he's not going to be in the next season. I don't want to spoil too much, but he's not going to be in the new season of Peaky Blinders, and he will be sorely missed in that show.
Awesome. Yeah, it's definitely. How many seasons now? There's 4.
I think 3 or 4, but I don't know.
I've watched
them all. The last season was not as good as the prior seasons, but it's still good. You know what I mean? Okay. Like, it's still excellent.
It's like pizza. No matter what, it's kind of good.
Yeah. Taboo too, though. I would highly, highly, highly suggest Taboo.
All right, we got to wrap it up, but we still got one film, and that is The Revenant. Real quick. Yeah, I know, right? It's like how can you stuff The Revenant real fast? But another period piece film. Fitzgerald. He just, like I said, every time he talks, I heard a banjo play. That's how much I bought into him. Just being into it for the pelts. Like, I could just listen, and it was funny because Jay Manning from my co-host on Director's Cut. The burger man has a cheeseburger, as you like to say, Becki. He said, I'm like, yeah, I'm watching a bunch of Tom Hardy films right now because I'm reviewing, and The Revenant, blah, blah, blah. And he's just like, I love the way he says pelts. And like, that's all I heard in the whole fucking movie. And it just, like, every time he said it, I was just dying because he already put that in my head. So every time he's like, they're just like, oh, we gotta put these, pelts under the rock. And it's just like, and if we don't find them, then oh well, we still have our lives. What? These pelts are alive. What do you mean? I don't got a life without pelts. And I'm just dying. But all jokes aside, his performance as Fitzgerald is one that he's such a bastard. He is such a bastard in this role.
Mm-hmm.
However, he makes sense. Like,
yeah,
you totally get where he's coming from. Like, especially if you put your mind frame back then, and it's just like you're constantly being beset by these scalping Indians and all this stuff's going on all around you. And that's like, it's a brutal, brutal world. And he's kind of made for it, right? It's just like, his performance was spectacular. The kind of monologue about finding Jesus and Jesus being a squirrel is Oscar worthy. I think just that little tiny scene in that claustrophobic cave with him and the kid is just riveting. And that was just like, yes, Leo won the Academy Award. I mean, you know, give it to the guy. He grabbed a live fish and put it in his face. You know, they literally put Leo through a meat grinder during this entire film. But Tom Hardy was just, when he was in it, he was great. He was relatable. And I'm like, yeah, he's an asshole, but I totally get it.
Right. And it's very much, I mean, obviously the character's coming from a kill or be killed mentality. And he's all business. It's like, look, I'm going to live my life and I can't take care of you. I mean, he's not a nurturer by any means. And he's the worst person you would put in charge of a dying man, like the worst.
He's like, I'll do it.
It's interesting because I actually read about the characters, the real men that this film is about, and it's not at all accurate.
Right.
It's not at all accurate. It's not. But I mean, Tom Hardy's performance, again, it's that natural grit that he brings that he conjures it up from somewhere deep in his soul. But he makes it look so easy. And by no means is that sort of thing easy. And I just have like the highest respect for him in these roles. And again, another physical role, you know, another, completely transformative. And again, with the posture and the voice and the language and the just completely, I mean, I don't see Tom Hardy in these roles. I see the character that he is portraying. It is absolutely flawless once again. And it is the perfect yin to Leo's yang in that film. I mean, there couldn't have been a better casting. There couldn't be better casting in that film. The two of them are magic in that film.
Well, it was crazy too, because, you know, it happened off camera, but it's kind of explained because you see Fitzgerald's head, it's like half scalped, and he kind of goes into it, and he goes into grisly detail of the feeling of physically being scalped and living through it. And it takes Leo going through something that, you know, it takes Glass rather going through something that Fitzgerald went through to become Fitzgerald, to overcome that. It's just, and you know, once you think about it like that, it's just like Fitzgerald was right all along. Like I said, you could kind of relate to where he's coming from because he's been through these grisly things. He knows how to survive in this world. And even when, you know, spoiler alert, when he's sitting there and when he's laying on his back and he knows that he's beat and Glass has mounted him, and he just says, listen, you came all the way out here to get your revenge. It's just like you went through all this bullshit. You got eaten by a bear. You watched your son die. You survived the elements. You totally survived the odds to come out here just to kill my loser ass. And then he's just like, it's not going to bring your boy back. And it's just like so brilliantly delivered that I'm just like, God, it's just like, if I wanted to go out pelting, I would call Tom Hardy because I believe he knows how to do it.
Right. Exactly. Again, it's that complete believability in all of these films where he sucks you in. It's over. You have no, like, I can't wait for the next Mad Max film, by the way. It's coming.
Sure.
Oh, yeah. I'm super
better come out before George Miller passes, because I mean, that man's not getting any younger.
Right.
Oof.
Yes, this was a pleasure. Like, I cannot say enough amazing things about Tom Hardy, and I was not, even in the films that weren't great, I was not disappointed by his performances.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. And this was absolutely, like, so much fun. I mean, you drink Tom Hardy, you drink a whole bottle of rosé, apparently. Jeez. And the only regret that I have, I wish The Walking Dead could have joined us, although she ran that chat, man. So thank you, Walking Deb, for being in that chat and interacting and kind of being our other guest or co-host as well. Sorry, like I said, Rose. But yeah, this was so much fun. This was the biggest surprise. I think this is episode 8, Beck, that we've been doing these real actors, and I'm gonna be honest, when he won, I was just like, okay, I'm not looking forward to this one as much as I have in the past. But after sitting down and watching, like I said, that's the brilliance of this show, of watching all the Tom Hardy films. This has absolutely been my favorite that we've done so far, just because I got to really dig into a personally unknown actor as far as I'm concerned. Like I said, I've seen Mad Max, I've seen The Dark Knight, all these kind of Hardy roles, but I never really got to sink my teeth into the juicy bits. Fucking Bronson and Legend was just like, it's like life-changing, right?
Yes. Well, that's the thing. I've been saying this for a long time, and he's been easily my favorite contemporary actor for many years now, and I stand by that. But it makes me excited that you guys see what I mean, that you guys like hopped on board, that he was voted in, that you watch the shows and now watch the movies, and now you get it. And I love that. It makes me very excited. So yeah.
Absolutely. Well, hey, we are a little bit over time. Thank you so much for joining me, my sister, Becki Morgan, famous makeup artist extraordinaire. Man, I can't wait to tell the guys from Bad Movie Night what you're going to be doing in real life soon.
Well, that's not confirmed yet, so I don't want to say anything.
Okay, I won't say anything, but
no.
Ian and Chris, oh man, just stay tuned, buddies. Stay tuned. But yes, before I let everyone go, I want to talk about Chemical Clothing. It started a partnership with them, so go to chemical-clothing.com, enter promo code Real Actors. That's right, this show has a promo code now, Real Actors, all in caps. Awesome. They sponsor a few skaters and everything over, I think it's based out of Arizona, but yeah, they will ship everywhere. And that's chemical-clothing.com. Enter promo code Real Actors, all in caps, and get your 15% off everything. Yeah, you can find me right here on They Said We Said. You could also find me on Twitter and Reddit at Orzov Dunn. You could also find me on Facebook and Instagram. But yeah, for Becki, The Walking Deb, everyone in the chat, thank you so much. What a great chat. Tom Hardy is the shit, everyone. We'll see you guys in the movies.